You gonna cry some more? Go ahead, mix the chocolate sweeter.
The cafeteria fell silent. Chocolate dripped down her hair, staining her white shirt, her sketchbook ruined at her feet. Phones were out. Laughter echoed. And standing over her, Chloe, smiling, holding an empty bottle. For a moment, Amara couldn't move. Not because she was weak, but because she'd felt this before. The weight of being different turned into someone's joke. But this time, something inside her shifted. What Chloe thought was a prank would become her biggest regret. Because when the world saw what she did, everything changed. This is the story of a bully and her biggest mistake. Welcome, story lovers. Where are you watching from? Hit the like button and drop your city name in the comments so we can see how far our story travels. It was supposed to be just another Monday at Lincoln High. In this place, laughter echoed down long hallways and sneakers squeaked against polished floors. For Amara Johnson, a 16-year-old sophomore with a quiet smile and an old sketchbook always tucked under her arm, school was her escape. She loved colors, lines, and the stories she could paint when words didn't feel safe. Art class was her haven. But outside that room, the world wasn't always so kind. Amara had moved to this small suburban town just 6 months ago with her mom, a nurse who worked double shifts. They were used to starting over. Each new place meant new faces and new judgments. Her mother always told her, "Hold your head high, baby. You belong anywhere your heart beats." But belonging wasn't always something others wanted to share. At Lincoln High, Amara tried to stay invisible. She kept her headphones in, sketching between classes, smiling politely when spoken to. But sometimes, politeness wasn't enough. There were whispers in the cafeteria, small comments about her hair, her skin, her attitude. Harmless, they said, just jokes, but each one landed like a pebble in her chest, small enough to ignore, heavy enough to feel. Still, she focused on her dream, to win the upcoming art showcase. It was her chance to prove herself, to make her mom proud. Every stroke of her pencil carried hope. But life has a way of turning ordinary days into defining ones. That morning, as Amara walked past the lockers with her sketchbook pressed to her chest, a small group watched her. Among them was Chloe, the girl everyone wanted to be. Bright smile, perfect hair, and the kind of confidence that made teachers forgive everything. She laughed softly, whispering something to her friends. Amara didn't notice. Not yet. She couldn't have known that by the end of that day, laughter would turn to silence, and her name would echo through the school for a reason no one could forget. The cafeteria buzzed with the familiar chaos of lunchtime, trays clattering, laughter spilling from every corner, and the hum of teenage noise filling the air. Amara sat alone by the window, sketching the scene before her. She had gotten used to it. Quiet lunches, just her and her art. Across the room, Chloe and her friends, Megan, Taylor, and Brianna, sat at their usual table. Perfect hair, loud voices, and the kind of confidence that came from never being told no. At first, it was small things. A smirk when Amara walked by. A whispered comment followed by stifled laughter. A spilled drink on her backpack. "Oops, sorry," Chloe had said with that insincere smile that meant anything but. Amara ignored it, telling herself it would fade. She had faced worse before. And she always believed that kindness, quiet strength, was louder than hate. But something about Amara's calmness seemed to make Chloe restless. It wasn't anger exactly. It was envy disguised as superiority. Amara had something Chloe didn't, authenticity. While Chloe played roles for attention, Amara just was. And people noticed. Teachers praised her art. Her portrait had even been featured on the school's bulletin board, a painting of a black girl crowned in sunflowers. It was bold, beautiful, and Chloe hated how much people loved it. The following week, the tension rose like a brewing storm. Whispers turned to taunts. Who does she think she is? Maybe she should paint something more realistic, like mud. The words stung, but Amara kept her head high. Still, the air around her felt thicker every day, the laughter sharper. Then came Friday, the day that would change everything. It was Spirit Day, a day meant for unity. The hallways were filled with students wearing school colors, faces painted with pride. Amara came dressed in her usual simple outfit, carrying her sketchbook. Chloe, however, had a different plan. As Amara walked to her locker, she noticed a hush spread across the hall. Phones lifted. Eyes followed her every move. She frowned, confused, until she heard Chloe's voice, playful but venomous. "Hey." "Amara!" Before she could respond, cold, sticky liquid splattered across her back. Gasps filled the air. The scent hit next, chocolate syrup. It dripped down her hair, staining her white shirt, pooling at her feet. Chloe stood there holding the empty bottle, her smile frozen somewhere between pride and panic. For a heartbeat, time stood still. The laughter started slowly, uneasy giggles that turned into a chorus. Some recorded, some looked away. Amara didn't move. Her hands trembled as she clutched her sketchbook tighter, her drawings, her dreams, now streaked with brown stains. A teacher's shout broke through the noise, rushing toward the scene, but the damage was done. The image was burned into every screen, every whisper. Chloe's smile faltered when she saw Amara's face. Not anger, not tears, just quiet dignity. And somehow that silence felt louder than all the laughter around them. By the end of the day, the video had spread across the school. Comments flooded in, some laughed, some defended. But one thing was sure. Chloe's moment of cruelty had just set off a storm she could never control. Because when humiliation turns into truth, the world starts paying attention. By Monday morning, Lincoln High wasn't the same. The video had gone viral overnight, not just across the school, but far beyond it. Strangers online were outraged, hashtags forming under Amara's name. Justice for Amara trended for hours. Parents called the school. News crews waited outside the gates. What Chloe had thought was a harmless prank was now a symbol of something far bigger, something raw, painful, and impossible to ignore. Inside, the air was heavy. Chloe walked the halls with her head down for the first time, the weight of her own actions settling like lead in her chest. Students stared, whispered, filmed her now. The mirror had turned. Amara sat in the principal's office, still in shock. The syrup stain had long been washed away. Still inside, she felt coated in something that wouldn't rinse clean. Humiliation, disbelief, and exhaustion. She hadn't asked for attention or pity. She just wanted peace. Then the door opened. Chloe stepped in, eyes red, voice trembling. For a moment, no one spoke. The silence stretched, filled with everything words couldn't fix. "I'm sorry," Chloe whispered. "But apologies don't erase pain." Amara looked at her, not with hatred but with strength. The kind of strength born from surviving what should have broken you. And in that moment, Chloe realized her joke had stripped her of something far more valuable than popularity. It had exposed who she truly was. Outside, cameras waited. Inside, two girls sat in the quiet aftermath of a storm neither would ever forget. Dear audience, where are you watching from? Drop your city name in the comments. The following week, Lincoln High held an assembly, not to celebrate sports or grades, but to confront itself. The principal spoke about respect, empathy, and accountability, but the real impact came when Amara took the stage. The auditorium went still. She didn't come to shame anyone. Her voice was calm and steady, but carried the kind of weight that silence gives power. She spoke not just about what had happened, but about what it meant. The moments when cruelty hides behind laughter, and how words and actions can leave scars unseen. She told them she had almost quit art after that day, and she nearly believed the voices that tried to make her small. But instead, she painted something new. Her latest piece, a self-portrait surrounded by cracks of gold, hung behind her. Inspired by kintsugi, the Japanese art of mending broken pottery with gold, it showed that brokenness can become beauty when acknowledged rather than hidden. When the applause came, it wasn't polite. It was thunderous. Even Chloe, sitting in the front row, clapped through tears. She had been suspended, yes, but her real punishment was watching Amara rise higher than her cruelty ever reached. In Nor. The months that followed, Amara's painting was featured in the town's art exhibit. She didn't just win the showcase, she won something more profound, the power of her own voice. Because sometimes the cruelest act can awaken the strongest truth. How many more Amaras will it take before kindness becomes our instinct, not our apology? Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more powerful stories and new videos.